And having such a sense of security in her home is priceless.
I hope first that my house is safe and that I'll go out and I'll buy a CO monitor so that it continues to stay safe.
Angelika Gavrunsky, Shaw TV, Capital Region.
And now, your homecoming queen is Becca Weiniger.
True beauty. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
When assessing your interior space, some areas of concern are the stairways and ceiling beams. But no matter what your situation, you can always find ways around it without having to resort to expensive renovations like knocking down walls or moving lock, stock and barrel.
Feng Shui Today with Don Hankins.
Placement of your staircase can be a real feng shui challenge. And here joining me today is Dorothy.
Hi, Dawn.
Thank you for inviting us into your beautiful home.
You're welcome.
I noticed that your staircase is actually right in the centre of your home. And when you look at that on the bagua, that's right in your health centre.
Oh.
And your health centre represents all your mental and all your physical health. So what's happening here is the energy is just funneling down, right the way down to the basement, and it's pulling everybody's chi with it. So it can be a real problem. So very easy to cure.
Okay.
Very simple. There's a couple of options that we can do. And firstly, we could put a feng shui crystal on the upper floor, and that will just then redirect the chi into a more auspicious direction and slow the chi down. Or we could add plants. So we could add 3 plants at the top, 3 plants in the middle, and 3 plants at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay? And that just slows the energy down, because plants in feng shui represent the wood element, and that just is a nice absorbing chi. If that didn't work, we could use pictures. We could put pictures of plants or trees or forests and put them in a beautiful wooden frame and place them 3 at the top, 3 in the middle, 3 at the bottom.
Okay.
And it just slows the chi down because it's the wood element, and it absorbs the energy, just slows it down.
Okay.
But I noticed that you do have a skylight here.
Yes.
I'm really hoping it was part of the original design.
It was.
Oh, thank goodness. Because adding one afterwards represents cutting into your head,
Ooh.
which can be quite detrimental to your health, as you can imagine.
Adding a skylight in a subsequent home renovation is problematic. Hang a 30mm crystal near all skylights added after your home was built. To enhance this cure, choose a crystal color that matches the corresponding chi center in your home. The 9 chi centers are like a roadmap of your space. By laying the grid over your floor plan, the centers can be identified.
On our next episode, we learn the importance of clearing clutter. By releasing blocked chi, we can make a shift that creates changes in our lives. See you then.
To learn more, visit inolagroup.ca.
Memories we cherish, moments captured in time.
This is Matthew Halton of the CBC.
I'm Mr. Sinclair.
Hello, Canada and hockey fans in the United States. I just keep on thinking about you.
Do you remember? How could...
And shoot a music video. Urban Star 2011 is coming to Shaw TV to a city near you. Register now at urbanstarcontest.com. Test.com. 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 Donations Telethon live on Shaw TV March 20th. And give another pet a chance to be as happy as Harvey.
Safeway, proud sponsor of the Safeway Championship, brought to you by Email Direct. For more information, visit safewaychampionship.ca.
Our opening end is brought to you by Granny's Poultry, a proud supporter of the Safeway Championship. Welcome back to the Sungrow Center in Beausejour and our continuing coverage of the 2011 Provincial Men's Curling Championship in Manitoba, the Safeway Championship. A hello to all our Shaw viewers across Western Canada. Mike Beauregard, Kathy Gauthier, and Jim Toth bringing you the semi-final between Mike McEwen and Terry McNamee. The winner moves on to play Jeff Stoughton at 1:30 this afternoon. Another game we'll have for you live on Shaw. This is a rematch of a game we saw earlier in the playoff round. Kathy won by McNamee 9-4, scoring 5 in the 8th end to break a 4-4 tie.
Well, for sure for Terry McNamee, that is a huge boost. It's not a team that you've not played before. You've played them and you've beaten them. Terry McNamee's played this game far too long to think that because you've beaten a team 9-4 means it's easy. And this is last night's final end. Daley Peters, who throws final stone for Vic Peters, tried an in-off off the boards. He actually was successful in removing it from the button, but he didn't stick the shooter. And that means a draw to the 4-foot would put Mike McEwen in this morning's draw. They almost leave it a little bit long here. All of a sudden you'll see it really, really start to die, but great brushing, super strong front end.
This is the extra end. The game was tied at 4. McEwen draws for the single point and a 5-4 victory. And in a game we brought to you last night, our viewers, the 1-versus-1 game between McNamee and Jeff Stoughton. It was an 8-3 final in favor of Stoughton, but a much closer game than the score would indicate.
For sure, it was a game in which this young man made a ton of shots. That's going to be a big difference today. In this semifinal action, teams on sheet C, that's the sheet that we have been bringing the telecast from. They stay on that sheet. All games will be on sheet C. The difference is that this afternoon, Jeff Stoughton will have a choice, as will his opponent, of any rocks in the building for this morning's game. They are still assigned the rocks on that sheet. What teams do now is they flip a coin before the game starts to determine who gets last practice, or the practice that is closest to game time and the ice conditions most similar to the game. That was won by the McEwen team. They elected to have the final practice. So the choice of color went to Terry McNamee. If you remember the game last night, he was throwing red. He chose yellow this morning, wanting to change it up. I think that they felt that there were some issues with a couple of the rocks. And we had a little bit of debate on the media bench this morning. Is it better to throw what you know, or to try to guess through the game what these stones will do? Mike McEwen's team has thrown both. They've got them charted, but it is a little bit new for Terry McNamee.
McNamee's rink, the big story of these playoffs. There weren't many people out there, probably except for their families, who thought they'd get this far. McNamee's been around for a long time. 46-year-old Manitoba curling veteran. Has never been this deep in the Safeway Championship. Beat McEwen in the playoffs. Also registered a victory over Vic Peters. Go. McEwen's rink, the top-rated team in this championship. Still haven't broken through, though, and won a provincial championship. That title has been owned by Jeff Stoughton, who has won Manitoba 8 times and has won 4 of the last 5 Safeway championships. He awaits the winner of this game.
Now we can expect a pretty simple first end. That is the style of play that Mike McEwen usually utilizes. Plays it pretty simple in the first end. And of course, this is the first time that there's only one game in play first thing in the morning. The crowds are much smaller this morning than they have been, and so really good opportunity to take a look at what the ice does before you start to go. And you can see it doesn't really matter where Terry McNamee is placing stones. For Mike McEwen and his team, their game plan clearly is just to keep it simple in this first end.
Go! Go, 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 go.
Here's Matt Wozniak, McEwen second.
All right, Matt.
Now we'll stick that around, and with that corner guard, Terry McNamee will try to get behind it early. Did win that draw to the button. Both skips were in the button area. Terry McNamee right on the tee line, got a little bit more than Mike McEwen. That's why he's got last rock in this first end.
Did you make it?
Room.
No.
Lots of room.
No, no. You think so?
Lots of room yet. Whoa. Room.
Kathy, I saw McNamee's rink in the Sweepers Lounge after their game against Stoughton last night. They seem pretty loose. They're having a good time.
Well, and you know what? Sometimes I think that as curlers or athletes, we forget that part of this whole experience is to enjoy yourself. Now, that does not mean anything to excess, but it certainly does mean that you have to enjoy the experience. And for Terry McNamee and his team, they absolutely are enjoying it, and that's really good.
Hard! Whoa, yeah! Yeah!
Bit of heat here from Wozniak.
Runs it back, isn't able to stick the shooter, but he makes the stone go away.
This is 15th appearance for McNamee at the Safeway Championship, curling out of the Brandon Curling Club.
Where is it?
I don't think. Not the same.
A little more. Whoa, 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 whoa. Lots of room. No, no off.
Not the same spot.
No.
That's a lot more, isn't it? Yeah. Just a little more.
The boy dirty.
Okay. No. Yeah, there's no sweeping at all.
That rock still is partially exposed, as you can see. If he had thrown sweeping weight, that's where you get your big finish.
Doesn't seem like go crazy.
Into third stones now, the first for BJ Neufeld.
One of two Neufeld boys on this squad. Chris Neufeld, dad, former Canadian Brier champion, is the coach. One of very few teams that do have a coach at this level.
Good. Yep.
Get in, bumper. Bumper.
Terry's third is Steve Irwin, a lefty.
Wow.
No.
Hard, 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 hard. How about?
Gets that wee bit of a roll, not enough to duck behind.
Same weight.
So a chance for McEwen's team to
try and get under. Yeah. I guess you got a little air. Okay.
More weight.
Clean.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, off, off, off. Yep.
No.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa, anything.
Curl.
Anything. Curl. Okay, good weight.
Run out of room there, Mike. Hack.
Okay. So is that firm bump or is that just half? Just bump or no?
I'm trying to find that elusive spot that the rock will actually roll. Some great weight thrown by BJ on his last one. It looked like it was going to climb past. It just didn't. And so Steve trying to find that perfect combination.
Attaboy.
Great shot. Not a lot of room between the guard. See, Mike can see about half to three quarters from the hack. no more a roll behind the guard as possible, so we'll try to roll it away. There's Denny Neufeld, dad to the two Neufeld boys, the third and the lead, and a great competitor over time. Somebody that players have a ton of respect for. There's been lots of discussion about coaching. It was one of the questions that we asked teams about whether they were bringing a coach and what the role was. Most of them said no, that they really felt that if anything, it was just the timeouts for them to have more time to analyze shots and to think about other things. And at this point, if you're not committed to what you need to do, a coach isn't going to help. And by far, in fact, I haven't heard anybody that disagrees with Chris Neufeld. The biggest thing Chris brings is that he's been there, done that. And as a coach, if you've not competed at this level, it's pretty difficult to tell your team what they need to do.
Go, keep going, keep going.
Good shot. Of course, Chris coached against his former teammate Vic Peters last night, and Vic was a great story at this championship. A lot of people were pulling for him.
Well, they were for sure. It's always a very special moment when you see a father and son combination, and not just in a country bonspiel as we often see, but in something like this level. And I'm sure that for Denny, looking on at his two boys, he doesn't have to cheer for one team over another. It's all or nothing. And Vic, of course, got the all-star third that he had quite a chuckle over, because for years as a skip he called the game, but he actually threw third stones.
Here's the first for Terry, who was named All-Star Skip last night.
Okay, whoa.
Deciding that the roll wasn't going to happen, we'll just let it finish off to the nose.
They make him throw that other turn.
Terry's in his mid-40s.
Yep.
He's curling with some young guys.
Doesn't seem to move.
Two of the three are in their 20s still. They've been together a while, 5 years, and have good chemistry, obviously, to get this far.
At the very least, make him try and roll, and make him throw the other turn for the blank. I'm gonna make a mistake. Control.
You hear the thought process from Mike, where he wants the shooter to end up, maybe force Terry McNamee to throw the other turn. It's not that he feels he can't throw both, but you want to change the shot. You don't want to leave your opponent with the same shot twice.
Hard! Really hard! Go!
Good job. Okay.
Definitely rolls a little bit, but you can see wide open. So for Terry McNamee, an opportunity in this first end. He's able to hit and roll out the blank.
Oh, you're right.
Terry has compiled a record of 6 wins, 2 losses in this championship. Steve Irwin lining up the shot. Last rock in the first end of our semifinal here at the 2011 Safeway Championship. McNamee curling McEwen, looking to blank the first end. Gets a little more nose than he wanted, but it's mission accomplished. So a blank first end in our semifinal. No score between Mike McEwen and Terry McNamee. Our Jim Toth spoke to Terry just prior to the game. Here's some of that interview.
Familiar with Mike McEwen, what kind of challenges does he provide for your team?
Well, we've played Mike a lot over the last few years, and we always have close games, so I expect nothing different today.
You still get excited after all these years of curling at this time?
Oh, sure. To be top 3 in your province, that's pretty good, but hey, we're looking to be number 1.
Thanks for this. Good luck.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Our second end is brought to you by Moxie's Classic Grill, proud supporters of Manitoba's roaring game. No score through one end of play at the Sungrow Center in Beausejour. Clearly, a lot of our curling fans were out late last night, Kathy. They're starting to file in now, fashionably late. Lots of curling still ahead. We've got our final here today at 1:30, and we'll have that game for you live on Shaw TV if you can't get off your couch.
Well, it should be a great day of curling. Two really good teams out here. The first chance that we've really had to see the #1 seed Mike McEwen's team play. And it's really interesting, you know, you've got the #2 seed and arguably 1 and 2. It's so interchangeable. Jeff Stoughton going through undefeated and waiting for the winner of this, Mike McEwen out there. And then you've got Terry McNamee, who wouldn't have featured in the top seeds, but I can guarantee you that Terry McNamee, and you could hear in his interview, really doesn't care who the seeds are and who he's playing. You know, the whole thing, isn't it great to be top 3? Well, that he's not happy with being top 3. He doesn't see any reason why he can't continue to go on and play Jeff again this afternoon. Great words, you need to prove it on the ice.
That's going to come down.
Curling fans in Manitoba are wondering, is this the year Mike McEwen and his rank breaks through? They certainly made their mark on the Grand Slam circuit this year, winning 2 of the first 3 slams. They've beaten all the big names, including Jeff, in some key money games this year.
Very strong team. There really is not a weakness at any position. And the other thing that their experience has done is, for those that watched last night, Terry McNamee's team was throwing red, and they realized after about the 3rd end that the 7 rock really didn't run the same as any other stone. And so they changed it up, but not before they'd given up one of the only deuces in the game. The only other multiple end scored really ended it all in 8. For Mike McEwen and his team have played these MCA rocks. They played them last year. They've not been changed, and in fact their order and rotation that they're throwing today is the same from the final last year. Mike McEwen throwing rocks 1 and 3, 7 being given to the second, where often we see a rock that's mismatched going because the second player throws the most hits in a usual game, and any imperfections in a stone don't tend to show up when you throw a hit. And that's another of those advantages from playing a lot and being here a lot, is you've had a chance to chart the rocks.
How about
Nice when you get right to know.
Both teams very comfortable with going now. Mike McEwen setting the pace for this second end.
Just for line, Mike. We're heavy right now. Oh, then. Wait close. No, just
McEwen's rink coming off a big victory a couple of weeks ago, the BDO Canadian Open, beating Glenn Howard in the final. They took out Jeff Stoughton in the semifinals of that event.
Stay with it. Yep, yep, yep. Go, 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 go. Good.
I think at this stage of the game, it just comes down to which team is playing better on a given day.
You're talking about the final 3?
I'm talking about Stoughton, McEwen.
For sure. Whoever Jeff takes on this afternoon, and Jeff talked about it last night, it is great to win that 1-1 game. You know that you have a date this afternoon with the Buffaloes sitting right beside you. You know you have last rock and choice of color, all those things. But at the end of the day, it really is the team that comes to play the best in that final. You cannot play a 75 or an 80% game and expect to win a provincial final in Manitoba.
Come on. Go hard on this. Get it.
Okay.
Same spot.
You can see right now the way that the angles are set up, they absolutely favor redstones.
I kind of like that guard in the same spot.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure you guard all the yellow.
You can hear lots of discussion at the other end. The team really charting out where they want to be.
Tight.
Oh, not too tight.
Matt.
There's the second from Matt Wozniak.
Tight.
Who easily has the best hair in the building this early in the morning.
That's good. Want to still touch the line.
It's tight. It's tight.
Stay with it. Yep. Yep. Gotta go. Gotta go. Hard. 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 Good. Good.
1 red on the lid for the center guard, just off center.
Well, and they like that guard for sure, because even though it looks like it's covering yellow stones, and it is, what you expose to your opponents is red stones, and any play on the red stones eliminate yellow.
Yep. Whoa,
Terry McNamee trying to keep that front open with last rock. He needs to get to those stones in the forefoot and move things around, which he's done. And
that works. That's good.
Left a couple of reds, but he's opened it up.
You run the red back. Put it right in between them. No?
Is there no slash double?
Well, we could nose this. You like that better?
That. I don't know. If you throw up a guard, he's just going to tap that back.
Yeah, we're knocking him out. Okay, right in the nose.
Yeah.
Like normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're concerned by playing a guard, whether it be in front of the house or a tight one at the top 12, is that there is an angle on the outside to hit the red stone and both go away, leaving the yellow stone in the house. And without last rock, this is a bit of a conservative shot. But it's one to eliminate the yellow stone in the house belonging to Terry McNamee. Which he does.
Just play a triple, or do you try to get something out of this? Are we shot then?
Why no? It's either that or the triple, probably.
You can probably get them all, couldn't you?
Yeah, probably. Just skinny that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if not, it's back 8-1, right? So.
Looking at playing the triple, those red stones are not in a great position for Terry McNamee. They're in the forefoot area. They're not behind the tee line. And so this is about eliminating granite.
Here's the first from McNamee, third Steve Irwin. Gets 2.
Nose this. I can throw a normal out here. Should curl.
Just normal.
Whoa, no. No, off.
It's like right on it.
Right
off.
Gee.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. Good.
Well, that did a lot of moving at the end. You heard them right off. He was a little bit full for sure, and it's almost like it hit a path where it started to spin a little bit. We're going to watch the ice a lot today. Really humid outside. The temperatures have changed from 37 below to much warmer. Earlier in the week, Hans and Greg had to deal with the roof leaking on one spot. It's not been an issue on sheet C, but when the conditions change, so too does the ice. And it's way colder in here, I find, this morning than it's been all week.
Hair high, and you actually scoot this like that. Easy? Sure.
Yeah, you've got the mittens on.
Do.
Okay, like 3/4, spread them out.
Is this normal or control?
Control. They're like 3/4, just tickle ours over too.
Okay.
Should curl.
The first of Skip Stones.
Easy way.
Terry McNamee has the hammer. Here's the first from Mike McEwen.
Whoa. Hard. Yep, hard. Right up. Hard. Really hard.
Hard! Right up! Hard! Jeez.
I was hoping to get that a little bit thinner so that he ticks his own over and rolls away, really wanting to separate the two stones in the house to force Terry McNamee to take one. By leaving it there, it's a relatively simple double for the McNamee team.
Well, getting to the semifinal hasn't been easy for the top seed. McEwen's had some really difficult games this week.
They have, and nobody at this field is going to lie down and die for you because you're a top seed or a 2 or a 3 seed. Everybody comes here with the same goal in mind, and that's to win.
Hard! Whoa, easy. Yep. Hard! Hard! Hard!
The first from Terry McNamee. Facing 2, and he gets rid of both.
Just knows it. Normal.
And so with only 1 stone for Mike McEwen left, it looks like we may be heading to another blank. But if you're just putting your television set on now, this has not been an up and down end. There's been lots of rocks in play. Some good shots made.
Queen. Whoa, pop. Whoa. Queen it. Queen it.
Yep.
McEwen with a 6-1 record in this championship. His only loss to McNamee.
Throws a ton there.
Well, for the second consecutive end, Terry McNamee has a wide open hit, so a relatively simple shot compared to some that we saw him have to make last night to keep his team in that game.
Terry's previous best finish, a 4th place finish at the Safeway Championship.
Whoa, 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 easy. Yep. Planted. Clean.
Looking to blank his 2nd consecutive end.
Yes.
And he does. So you're right, Kathy. We did have some rocks in play. Certainly hasn't been up and down, but another blank end, and we're scoreless through 2 ends of play. Our Jim Toth spoke to Mike McEwen, the top seed on the draw just before this game.
Mike, you're familiar with Terry McNamee. He's familiar with you. What challenges does he pose for your team?
I mean, Terry's got great touch, so you know, he's going to make a lot of soft weight stuff, and you know, anytime you give him a draw, he's probably going to make it. So we'll have to watch, make sure we're you know, we're aware of that, and then try and do our best to make his shots difficult.
It hasn't been easy for you guys to this point, but you keep winning. Is that a good or bad thing on Sunday?
Well, it's kind of nice that we made it to Sunday. We weren't playing our best, but we found a way to win, grind them out. So, you know, I just said we had to get here today, and hopefully we're a little bit different team today.
Thanks for this. Good luck today.
Thanks very much, Jim.
All right, thanks, Jim. Nice job. Our 3rd end of play is brought to you by Manitoba Liquor Marts, proud supporters of Manitoba's provincial championships. It's time for Kathy's first feature. It's called Reading the Ice, and it's brought to you by Safeway Ingredients for Life.
Well, some great ice crew here have given the curlers conditions that they have loved. Around the center guard, we've seen 5-6 feet of curl really coming off at the end. You have to anticipate and believe. Same with the corner guards. There is no line they run and then cut. They really move all the way with a very hard finish. Your draw weight is key to getting around those guards. This can be a tricky shot depending on how much room you have. We've seen ice taken right on the foam bumper and moving up towards the hog line to have enough room to get around. This has been the gold part of this journey. 3.8 splits, 15 between the hogs, almost 25 hog to stop. That has not changed since Wednesday. And for the curlers, when you have draw times that stay the same, that really helps your confidence.
Okay. All week, eh?
Well, Mike talked about his rink perhaps not playing their best this week. They've had tough games from 4 or 5 opponents, and just looking at who they played, I can remember Sean Grassie giving them a run. Bob Sigurdsson lost by just a point to them. Vic Peters last night. Garth Smith gave them a tough game, and then of course they lost to McNamee. So they're 6-1. They played 7 games. 5 of the 7 have been difficult.
Well, I love the 2 interviews that Jim Toth did today. I don't know what he's got going on there, but he's able to get really great stuff out of both of the skips, and it was honest. Often you hear teams like, well, we're playing great, and you hear that, and you know what? We heard honesty, you know, from Terry McNamee. You know, who cares about top 3 in the province. I want to be number 1, which is so refreshing. And from Mike McEwen, we've heard people say this is not the same team that's been on the Slam this year, whether they're playing tight or whether they're playing tired. Folks didn't know, but we had seen some great shots from the team, but not the consistency that would have given them that number 1 seed that was deserved given the season they've had. And for Mike to acknowledge, that they're not playing at the top of their game, they're finding ways to win. That's what good teams do, is you find ways to win, and hoping that today's going to be the day that they go back to form.
Back's good. Don't leave it too much of a hole to come through, eh?
I wouldn't boost Jim Toth's ego too much.
Yeah, you would not.
We don't want to give him the microphone for too long. We may never get it back.
Blocks.
Where is it?
Gotta go line.
Hard.
There's that finish. Watch that rock move sideways.
That ever curl.
Did it ever? And part of that can be rotation. If you watch the McEwen team, because they're so used to arena ice, you will see very positive handles, lots of rotation on the stone. On arena ice, that's how you keep consistent. For the McNamee team, not playing in the arena as often, if you have it all a soft release, what happens is it almost starts to straighten out and swoop. It will just sort of walk sideways and float. Now, it's true that you can get rocks to bury, but on this kind of ice with guards, you're not going to get around.
Line's a little tight.
Now, we've talked about Mike McEwen's run to the semifinal. Terry McNamee lost his opening game and then ran off 6 straight victories before losing last night to Jeff Stoughton. 6 wins, 2 losses.
Go!
Among his victories, of course, a win over McEwen and a victory over Vic Petersrink.
Oh, that's a great shot, great brushing.
On ours?
Denny Neufeld.
Like the peel?
Yeah. BJ, great brushing to get that stone by. It's over buried, top of the house.
Yeah, if we could miss it.
Whoa! Jordy Hargraves with impressive numbers early on.
Other one first. Get open. Get over.
Well, they won't be happy with that because he hit the wrong stone. If you hit somewhere towards the middle, at least you have a potential of moving a couple of stones around and opening up the 4-foot area. By hitting the outside one, you didn't change the situation much other than replace it with your own. Terry McNamee still in some trouble here early in 3.
Just for line, Mike. Clean. Makes T-line on its own. Clean. Just for line.
Close. Yep.
Just line.
Hard. Whoa.
Just line.
Whoa. Yep. Hard. Whoa.
Well, I'll tell you, they have found that spot where it just goes straight sideways. Another great shot over buried.
Just here, push ours in.
Wow. We might jam this one too, eh?
What?
What turn? Yeah, I might be jamming this on ours.
Looking to run their Yellowstone back, Kathy?
Wanting to double off at least 2 off the front, red and yellow preferably.
Shot.
Nice shot.
Oh, wow. What a great shot. Not only opens up the front, but in running it back, makes the double. Talk about a potential game saver. Little fortunate in how he hits that. Wanted to really move the front, but in the process, and lies 2.
Into third stones now. Here's BJ Neufeld. After a tremendous shot from Jordy Hargraves.
Hard. Whoa. Real hard.
Hard.
Hard. Not killing it. Barely has any weights. Okay.
Well, you heard Mike under his breath, barely had any weight, and he had very, very little weight, and anything underthrown on this ice over curls, so he only caught a very fine piece. Leaves McNamee lying 2 and a chance to hit to lie 3, keeping in mind McNamee throwing yellow has last rock in this third end because of blanking 1 and 2.
Nose is fine. No.
Whoa! 30.
Sit.
How about?
It's huge for Steve that he stuck around on that shot, and he did.
Normal.
The Croc Hunter.
Hey, so roll on top would be better, right?
Yes, but I mean, you roll there, it's not good. You could easily roll over top too.
All right, just make double.
You want to just make the roll? I like the double.
Okay.
Just throw normal. Try and hit a quarter or less.
Well, in one shot, things have changed dramatically for Mike McEwen from having 2 buried to facing 3. 2 options. One is you hit and flop on the yellow stone. The other is the double. This is really about eliminating yellow stones in the house.
Hard. Sit. Okay.
Hoping to stick around, does not, but at least removes 2 yellow stones.
Yeah, just top 8.
Yeah. Speed the same yesterday? Okay.
First chance for Steve Irwin to make a draw in this game has been all hitting, mostly because it was wide open in the first. And there was lots of rocks in play by the time he shot in the second.
Can't be deep, boys. Whoa. Can't be deep.
Whoa.
Weight's good.
Whoa. Got a curl. No, that's all.
Line's good.
No.
Sit down.
Sit.
Oh.
Sit.
Jeez.
Come on.
God.
Let's see what he had.
Ah, he's lefty too, though.
You think edge of 4, kind of? Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Good comment from BJ, noting the fact that Steve is a lefty. Because he is a lefty, that would be, I'm trying to sit in the hack and throw with my left hand, that would be the out turn as compared to a right-hander's in turn. And stones run very differently. And so that's why they need to take their own ice based on what they feel
Heavy. I mean, if we
will take to get there.
for some reason don't get shot or something. I don't know.
And you can see, you heard Steve's frustration. Anywhere in front of the tee line, even if he's 8 foot, really puts Mike McEwen in a tough situation. Instead, he's got a chance to draw around the guard and get shot.
For weight.
Whoa, guys.
Here's the first of Skip Stones in the third end. No score in our semifinal.
Hard. You gotta go weight.
Really hard.
Jeff Stoughton awaits the winner.
Really hard, guys. Go as far as you can go. As far as you can go. Come on.
Gets by the guard.
Go. Every reach counts. Go.
Great sweep. Jeez, that's heavier there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
hopped that.
if I go over there?
Should leave him the out, right?
How much deeper did he want that, Kathy?
Well, he would have ideally liked to have been shot, but even if he wasn't shot, if he's managed to get himself to the top of the 4 foot, really makes it a lot tougher for Terry McNamee to deal with.
Fine though, right? Isn't it? Like if he misses that by just a hair, then it's...
All right.
I think this is the shot to go inside.
Okay, well, it's got a tuck then, or you...
Yep.
Well, he does have to be careful in playing this in turn, needs to bury around the redstone, and you heard Terry saying, well, it's got a tuck, meaning if it sticks out, it's the only chance for Mike McEwen to make the double.
Okay, guys, just top 4, no more than that.
You know, if we just tuck a corner around the red.
Well, no, that leaves him a double. Same as was?
Good confirmation of weight. You heard Mike McEwen say, you know, geez, it's heavier there. And it's certainly possible that there is a path that's a little bit heavy, doesn't slide as far. But for Terry McNamee, wanting to make sure that he doesn't add extra and go deep.
Gotta move a lot.
Just a 5. Or 6.
How deep? You passed it? Go then. Stay low then. Whoa.
This is all about line now.
Hard. Pretty good.
Should curl a little bit.
7/8 open.
Yeah. Be good.
Yeah, we don't want to be anywhere near ours.
Missed it anyway. Okay.
And for Terry McNamee, took a little bit of extra ice to make sure that they did not flirt with that red stone, but unfortunately for him, it didn't finish very hard. And so, great chance here for Mike McEwen. And there's Greg, one of 2 ice makers. Well, there's a pack of them actually, but 2 of the lead ones, Han Futrick and Greg Owasco. 2 of the key.
Yep. Hard, really hard.
That have been here with the ice conditions
really
all week.
Hard. Really
Last stone for Mike McEwen.
Go.
Wow.
Hey. Good sweep, guys.
Mike McEwen needs a huge thank you to his sweepers. Watch how tight he gets by his own. He hits that really thin. This is a draw for 3 for Terry McNamee. He's mad that he didn't have a situation where, in fact, he made the double. It's one of those early opportunities for Mike not taken advantage of. And this is a huge point for Terry McNamee. You've set this end up. Jordy Hargraves got you out of a huge amount of trouble with that peel, tick, bang, double.
No. No, guys. It's heavy.
Is that an official term, Kathy, in the curling vernacular?
Yes, do not try that alone. That was. It was the peel, the tick, the bang, and the double. And here is your deuce.
Last rock of the third. An open draw for 2 for Terry McNamee, who jumps in front of Mike McEwen. 2-0 to score after 3 ends. Much more curling to come from Beausejour. You're watching the 2011 Safeway Championship live on Shaw TV.
You're in the Northern League now, son. Section F, row 10, seat 2.
The Winnipeg Gold Eyes. For more information, visit goldeyes.com.
Safeway Championship Curling on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by Manitoba canola growers. Visit canolarecipes.ca.
Safeway, proud sponsor of the Safeway Championship, brought to you by Eating Right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
Granny's Poultry proudly supports Safeway Championship Curling. Visit grannys.ca.
Something to say on every play. Sports Select Sports Talk on Shaw TV.
Shaw TV and McNally Robinson present Joanne Kelly's Book Club. Join the conversation of McNally Robinson on the last Tuesday of the month. For more information, contact joanne.kelly at sjrb.ca or call 480-3410.
Our fourth end of play is brought to you by Steinbach Credit Union, a proud supporter of the 2011 Safeway Championship. Mike Beauregard, Kathy Gauthier, Jim Toth back in Beausejour 2-0. Terry McNamee leads top seed Mike McEwen in the semifinal of the Safeway Championship. The winner moves on to face Jeff Stoughton's rink at 1:30 this afternoon in the final. Stoughton's rink, the only undefeated team in this championship with 6 wins and no losses. Jeff looking for his 5th Safeway Championship title in 6 years. That is domination.
It is. He knows how to win. And he's got a great team yet again. Different combinations. I really think that front end really will test anyone, anywhere. That addition of Reed Carruthers to longtime Steve Gould. They sweep well, they throw well. You always look at a former skip in Reed Carruthers because jokes are often made about Skip's abilities to sweep, but he certainly quiets those that would suggest that.
Well, we were wondering why they were still doing the ice over on sheet A. They were pebbling, and Hans was out there shaving the ice. Jeff Stoughton's rink gets a half-hour of practice this morning.
It's a little tighter line.
Jim Toth is on top of things.
It's gonna overcurl.
On his 4th coffee of the day already.
Well, and for Jeff and his team, it is great to get to the final, but you need to keep your routine as close as you can to what it's been all week. You're playing 1 or 2 games. You want to make sure that the conditions are similar. And so they will come out and utilize that half an hour to make sure that
it's in the full 8 foot.
Things are the same. Lots of rocks in play already here.
He's pretty good. Just for line. Yeah, we can wait.
Mike McEwen's team has seen a lot more arena ice than Terry's this year.
Line's good.
The McNamee foursome has adjusted well.
Yep.
Yeah. Terry, very accomplished mixed player, has played on arena ice before. He's been to the show lots of times. In terms of knowledge of stones and arena conditions, the edge would go to teams like McEwen, Stoughton, Fowler, who have traveled quite a bit, played in some events that are always in arenas.
It is normal.
But once you get underway, you start to learn things. It doesn't take you very long. And as I say, for Terry McNamee, having come to the show on many occasions before, it may have been day 1 where the biggest difference was felt, and that was his loss.
No, it's no good. No.
Terry's been to 4 national mixed championships and has come home with 3 medals, a silver medal and 2 bronzes. So he's not only made it there, he's had success.
Fight before.
Well, he's a fierce competitor. You've heard in any of the interviews that Jim has done with him yesterday or today, he doesn't go to an event to show up and see what happens. He goes with a very specific game plan, and when you have that kind of attitude, you're going to win a lot of games by determination alone.
Mike McEwen's team, we've mentioned, has had some tough games this week, and it appears as though this won't be an easy one either. Down 2-0 in the 4th.
Well, some rocks in play, a chance to try to duck behind. Some struggles a little bit with weight early this morning.
Scary though. Got 2 fairly easy runs.
The other way.
Yeah.
Well, their concern is that with those red stones where they are, options for both ways to run and get rid of the yellow stone belonging to McNamee in the house, and that would leave McEwen lying 2. This is the chess game. Mike McEwen very patient.
We're not short, I don't think.
Line's good.
Here's Jordy Hargraves.
Whoa, looks like lots. Whoa.
How's line? We're okay?
Line's good.
We're all there.
Whoa.
Still by?
13-6. It's usually 15 between the hogs. You do not want to be deep.
All right.
Okay. You like this at all?
You like going through the guards at all?
Could go here too. Through the guards.
Yeah, like peel, crotch it and carry through.
Might not go through, though.
Well, I don't mind the intern draw again.
I was thinking spilling both these in.
Still going to be 1 and 2, though.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
The run through that he's talking about is when you have rocks that are very, very close to each other like that. If you hit it right in the middle, what happens is you get forward momentum. The 2 yellows will pop, and the red one can go straight through. And if it goes straight through, you can see it will go onto red, onto yellow.
One, yeah. I don't think so. Just a hair lower.
I think you just wanted to hit it right in the middle.
The other objective here is to clear that front out a little bit.
Here's Matt Wozniak. This will be interesting to watch, Kathy.
No.
Okay.
And that was one of Mike's concerns, is if you don't hit it absolutely perfect, you leave a guard, but it's your own.
Nice.
What do I need? Half?
Half's good, yeah.
Okay.
This was the option that Mike McEwen was thinking about first, which was to tap half of that stone and roll that other one in, get some separation. Terry McNamee knows that. Great chance for him to get rid of both.
Into third stones now. Steve Irwin. Spills both yellow rocks.
Throws that big weight shot very well.
Right here.
T-line?
No. Back 4.
Back 4?
Yep. Just get an angle on this. And come with the out if you want. Same difference.
I like the intern.
I like the out.
I do love the discussion. You know, we see so often in juniors where there's this whole philosophy that the skip owns everything, and I love at this level where it really is about the person in the hack, talking about shots. Everybody on the team has a valid contribution to make to how the end plays out. At the end of the day, you heard that Mike's comfort level was higher with this, and so that's the angle, and that's the turn that he chose.
Just weld it, Denny. Whoa, 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 man. Whoa,
this is a team sport.
Pistol.
They play the out and the freeze.
Throw it.
Pretty good.
Lots of room.
5.
Yep.
Hard.
6.
Hard.
Finally.
Gotta go.
7, 8.
Gotta go.
8, 9.
Come on.
7.
This one's coming over, Kathy.
It sure is on the front.
Okay.
Double? No.
You don't have to kill the 5. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
just got to get inside.
You got to be real tight.
Well, there's nothing else to play. I think you play with half.
Okay.
You don't have to kill either one of these. Just got to move them. Wow.
I think
I'm not
bumper,
too concerned
Mike.
about that.
I think you got to throw bumper.
No, just hack. All you have to do is move this here. It might benefit us that staying there if he ever makes freeze come off it. Hack weight.
Well, you can see the discussion, which was great. It's not important that those yellow stones go away. Mike McEwen has last rock. What he wants to make sure is he doesn't leave those stones there for the McNamee team to tap back. So in the process of doing this, he's going to leave his shooter there. He wants to tap those yellow stones to the wings. And so there is no tap to the forefoot. The fact that they're still in the house doesn't bother him at all.
Really hard.
Hard!
Hard.
Hard!
Whoa! Whoa! No.
Whoa!
No, no.
Whoa, it's good. Just kick it out. It's good. It's good.
Well, you gotta get here then, right?
Yeah, bang.
Well, and there's the team that is looking on to find out who they will play this afternoon. Steve, Reed, Jeff, and John. New version of the Bingos. Maybe the Beatles.
Probably that shooter sticks.
Oh, I don't think so. If he's playing weight. Well, you got to go there.
backyard's fine. What, he's coming in? I guess he could play the flash, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I don't think you want to guard that 5 at all, Steve. He was questioning whether they would just guard the shot stone. Mike McEwen's got that angle on the out-turn side, red onto yellow. Could give up 3 for Terry McNamee. Needs to get another stone in if he can lock it on that back one.
Yeah.
Into skip stones now in the 4th. Terry McNamee curling 96%, up 2-0.
Where is it?
6.
Okay. Line's okay. Gotta move. There it comes. There it goes. Hard! 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 Come on! Come on. Give me.
Gee. Even half gets it, right? Thick half.
It was really important to lock that stone on. Otherwise, you can see that the double is there for Mike McEwen. A couple inches from being great.
Ooh, geez, you could borderline almost stick your shooter. I mean, I don't know if it's worth the risk, but
we got to make this.
He just plays this again.
If we don't make it, then.
Okay, yeah, this is fine.
I mean, I'd have to throw.
You throw normal.
Yeah, but even if I stick the shooter, I'm not out counting that back one.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine, Mike. This is feel.
Just make that draw again.
Yeah, thick half. Right here. Mike.
Now, VJ wondering if you could play more normal weight and stick the shooter around, but as Mike rightly points out, you're not going to outcount the one at the back anyway, so they need to make these 2 go away.
Make this, we'll have a chance for 3. If he doesn't make his awesome real good.
Gosh, Mike's doing your job for you, Kathy. Yeah.
Well, and who better to hear it from? And that's great communication with his front end.
Yep.
Real positive.
He has last rock on this end. This is his first stone, looking to spill 2 yellow rocks.
Attaboy.
Nice shot.
You gotta make it.
Well, he talked about if he makes this shot, he might get 3. Makes this absolutely perfect. There's no chance that that shooter is going to stick around with the weight and the angle that you have to hit this. But as he's saying, if Terry McNamee doesn't make this perfect, if he gives him an out at all, set it up for himself to get a chance for 3.
Well, we've seen it the last few ends, but it's amazing how one good shot can change the complexion of an end.
Huge. That's for sure at this level, because that one shot is usually moving